The purpose of this video is to demonstrate how to create a scaled sketch of the mini barn. The first thing we need to discuss here is the overall dimensions of the mini barn. These, according to your handout, were listed as 12 feet in length. And we had 8 feet height and 8 feet depth. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a scaled sketch on this graph paper here. And this graph paper, the scale that we're going to be using is 1 block is going to be equal to 8 inches of measurement. All right, we're going to start 2 up, 2 over, and I'm going to fill out a title block. So name, date, and then this is, let's see, mini barn scaled sketch. All right, so keeping in mind there that we got 8 inches per block here, we've got to take a look back at our overall dimensions here, and then we got to figure out what is the how many blocks long we need to draw this for this particular length. So the process we use is we go ahead and say, okay, well, if it's 12 feet long, we're going to convert this to inches, so we're going to times that by 12 inches, and that should give me 144 inches total. And I'm going to divide this by 8. And the reason why we're dividing by 8 is, once again, we said that our scale there was 8 inches per block. And so what this will yield is 18 blocks in length. Now, to go through the same process here, 8 feet times 12, and equals 96, divided by 8, gives me 12 blocks. And then same here, it's same as this, so it's 12 blocks this way. All right, so knowing that information, now I can proceed on with the drawing. So starting down here, you can see we've got the starting point here. I'm going to count 18 blocks to the right. All right, 12 blocks tall. All right, I'm projecting over this other side here, something like that. All right, so straight edge. I'm going to go ahead and draw some lines connecting this up. It's going to be a rectangle in the front view, and we always start with the front view, and then we project our other views from it. All right, let's go ahead and put a base on this, and we're going to draw it left side. All right. Well, with this done here, what we're going to do now is we're going to take take half the height, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put a dot there on either side, and I'm going to draw a horizontal line right here in this position. And that's the sidewall. That's where the sidewall begins, right here, and the trusses are above it. So basically divide the building in half. Now, the other thing we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and set up where our trusses and our wall studs are going to go. And what I'm doing is I'm putting a mark every other block, because that's 16 scaled inches apart, and that's how far apart our trusses and wall studs need to be set as well. So with that information there, I'm just going to go ahead, sketch in some vertical lines. And so the upper parts would be the trusses, the lower parts would be the wall studs. Whoops, a little over on that one. One more. Okay, there's that. So front view all finished. I'm going to go ahead and label that front. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and start with the top view here. And so I'm just projecting about, I don't know, let's go with 3 units of space between there. Just projecting along the grid lines. I'm counting back 12. 1, 2, 3, just barely fits on there, which is fine. So I'm going to draw a couple vertical lines there for the sides of the barn, the ends of it. Need a horizontal line here. It's basically a rectangle in the top view as well. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and project up some locations for the trusses in the top view. We'll be looking down on the building from the top, and so therefore we're going to see the tops of the trusses. And I'm going to draw some vertical lines across here just like I did in the front view. Alright, so you can see that both the top and front view look very similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make them look a little different here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Counting half the distance there, and I'm putting some dots right here in the midpoint. And what that is that's the primary roof peak of the gambrel truss. And then there's also a secondary peak there, and these secondary peaks there are just inside the second line, just like that. And these are the secondary roof peaks, and I'm going to put one on the other side as well. And they're just little dots here indicating the peaks of the roof. Like I said, they're just inside the second line. Something like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to label that top view. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and get the right side view set up here. We're going to give 4 units of space here. I'm going to count 12 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Same height as the front view, of course. It's the same object, so it's got to be the same height. I'm going to put some dots for the side walls here. They're halfway up. I'm going to put a center point in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's the center point. I'm going to go ahead and connect up the sidewalls here. I'm going to connect up the base. Now, the roof section here is a little bit different. We're going to go ahead and start on that. I'm going to put one dot right here in the middle, right above the center point. And then I'm going to go ahead and sketch some diagonal lines here with the ruler. Now these should be light lines. It's kind of hard to do with a pen, but I wanted to use a pen here to make sure that you're able to see it. And what I'm doing is just lining up my ruler here, putting a diagonal from the very corners of the building toward the center point there, right in line with the midpoint of the wall. All right, now the next thing is I want to measure along 4 feet along this diagonal line. Now we know 4 feet is 48 inches. And so if I were to divide that by our scale, which would be 8, that should equal 6 blocks, right? Well, the trouble is we can't measure along this diagonal line this way because look, if we've got a right triangle right here, which we do, this is a quarter, that's a quarter. The longest side of the right triangle is going to be the hypotenuse, and so the hypotenuse is going to be greater than 1/4 of an inch. So what we have to do instead is I have to think about this in terms of linear measurement here, where I'm just going to go ahead and color in 6 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I'm going to measure that. Well, I know what the measurement is because I can add 6/4. That's 1.5 inches. So what I'm going to do here is measure 1.5 inches along this diagonal line, and I'm going to put a mark right here on the line. Okay, I'm going to do the same for the other side. 1.5 inches. Now, once I get that done, now I can go ahead and connect up my roof. This is going to give us the gambrel shape. This is that half an octagon shape that we've talked about. The gambrel roof is like a half an octagon. And you can see I'm connecting this up here, carefully using my ruler to give my connection points, straight edge. And now I got to put the door in. Now the door here was 6 feet. I have 4 feet. So I've got, let's see, 72 inches for 6 feet and 48 inches for 4 feet. And so if I divide these by 8, that'll give me what, 9 blocks tall. This is for the door. And it's going to be, let's see, 6 blocks wide. All right, so center point, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 for a total of 6 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Same way right here. I'm going to connect this up. And I'm going to draw in some dimension lines here. It's going to be 8 feet. I'm going to put a couple extension lines in position here. A couple extension lines for the length. It's 12 feet in length. And then I need a depth dimension here. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple extension lines here. And then place the depth above it. It's going to be 8 feet. I'm going to go ahead and label this the right side. And that completes your drawing. So good luck with your drawing.